way to start your day.
Kisumu, they tried to block us. In fact, when we were going to Kakamega, they barricaded the airport. They brought 500 or 1,000 goons there, armed with machetes and the rest. We had to find ways of getting to the venue. Personally, I went through the airport. I went through them. Yeah. I was in a construction vehicle. And I went through them. They just couldn't figure out I was there. You. But I saw them with punkers and everything, waiting to cut us. But that's the day we were going to Kakamega. Then they even followed us. They put people on motorbikes to follow us to try and stone us on the way to Kakamega.
And who's they?
It is the government and ODM, these guys being paid money.
And you know this unequivocally?
Yes, we know that. We know. Then when we now went back to Kisumu, on our way into town, the first place they stopped us was near the airport. And it's a local MP was given money there, tried to mobilize people. And they were chased literally. The public was chased. Kisumu shocked us. What you saw in Bungoma and Trans Nzoia is what was in Kisumu. We don't pay anybody to come to our rallies. We just put a podium, we send a truck, and we fuel our vehicles and we go. Kisumu, from the airport, they lined the road. They lined the road. We had expected to be attacked when you're entering the industrial area. When we got there, the people who had been put there disappeared. They just ran away. I saw somebody at Aga Khan Hospital coming with the drip, waving at us. And we were shocked. All the mechanics came out. The women came with the cooking sticks. When we got, we had planned a quick dash into Nyalenda where we were going to pray. We couldn't. We had to literally, crawl into the church and come out. And you saw what even happened. They tried to stop us at Kondele. That did not work. And what I saw in Western, people were they were lining the roads. You probably just saw the rallies, but as we were driving, the people came. They were lining, children, women, old people. They were on the roads. Kenyans want change. That is what they're telling us. They want change. This is what they want. They are not happy with the way things are. And this government is spending so much money in Western Kenya. Literally, they can't have a meeting without paying people. That weekend, they were in two places. They were in Teso, they were in Malava. The remnants of ODM, the few people who are still left there, were trying to speak to people in Malava. People were even walking out of the meeting. If you see the videos, you'll see them saying, you, in this coffee, why are you running away? Come back, the meeting has not ended. Because everybody is paid. To meet people, they have to call it empowerment so that people come. They spend 5 million shillings every week in Suba South constituency, my constituency. Every week, they are sending 5 million shillings. I've told the people, I've opened the granary for you. Eat. Eat. Because they are spending money now. You see what they did in Olkalau. They are spending it in Western Kenya and Nyanza. And we are telling our people, eat that money. Because they are doing it because of our resistance. They think they can buy the people away from us. It will not work. My constituency, 5 million a week. Members of parliament, 500,000 a week. They're being given. MCAs in Nairobi, 500,000 a month.
The amounts that you're talking about currently are outstanding.
I'm giving you facts.
Where does this money come from in your thought?
Confidential expenditure and proceeds of corruption. Yes, proceeds of corruption. The MPs, there's this thing we call sangwenya. These youths who get hired for politics, which you guys call goons. The MPs have become sangwenyas themselves. I am telling you on good authority, in Nairobi, every MCA gets 500,000 a month if you're aligned to the broad-based government. MPs get 500,000 a week. In my constituency, there's a minister who is given 5 million a week and a chopper. Even on Sunday, he is everywhere. Yes, and I'm telling the people, take the money. And now we are telling them, once you take the money, send 10 shillings to Linda Mwananchi.
and that's a good place to get into, because with all the crowds that we're seeing that are organic in nature, one then asked the question as Linda Mwananchi, how do we change those two votes, because it does not mean that everybody who's there, first of all, has registered. So I saw what you did in Taita Taveta, where that was a civic education on utapiga kura wapi, you know, mjumbe wako ni nani, which polling station. That was civic education, telling the citizens, the voters, on the need of knowing why even they're going to the elections, why they're going to vote for a good leader and who that is. But then again, there is also about campaign financing, where the game is changing. We saw what happened in Bungoma, where Kenyans themselves were donating their 10 shillings, and in all this, you're showing hii imetoka mahali fulani. How is that a game changer, especially where we know many are spending money that cannot be traced? While in Linda Mwananchi, we can say these are donations that have come from the people. How is that a game changer as we go to 2027?
You see, they've been lying that retired President Uhuru Kenyatta is supporting us. It's a lie.
Is he?
He's not. Maybe, I'm sure he's with us in spirit.
Yeah.
But other than the fact that he's the chairman of the Council of Azimio, where I'm the Secretary General, there's no other connection. That is all. He doesn't support us. We raise money amongst ourselves. We do a budget. We sit down, we agree. People contribute, some more this week, others the next week. But once we have our budget, we all put it together and we all fundraise. And we have records. We can show you here. Whenever we have a function, you'll see we have sent M-Pesa to our colleague who is organizing the event. There's somebody who has supported the advanced team. Somebody has paid for. That's what we do. And because we can't match the stolen resources that this administration has, so we can't. We are not going to peg our campaigns on money or compete at the level of money. We are not. And we want, you know, there's a fundamental question here you have asked. This country, if we allow politics to capture, money to capture our politics, we will block out all the good people, all the young people. We must now make politics something that is accessible to all. Yeah. And the only way is to make sure it is not captured by big money. And that is what we are trying to do. People ask us for T-shirts. We tell them everybody who is here with a T-shirt or a cap made it themselves. We don't make for people. We don't give them. Yeah, we tell them. We tell them that's the old thinking. That's the old school. Yeah. Where we come and we flood you with kofias like ODM is doing. You know, they were given 200 million to make branding.
Yeah.
Those things. Yeah, they were given. So, as we don't do that, we tell you we will give you the prints. We will give you if you want. But you go make your own T-shirt. That is how it happens in other jurisdictions. You support your party by buying their paraphernalia. Yeah. But as we just allow guys, this is a slogan or this is it, make your T-shirt, make your
How is the ownership by Mwananchi now that you see they're the ones who are funding the campaign? When it comes to even the prints that you're talking about, it is them who are doing it for themselves. How heavy does the responsibility then become to the those elected to deliver? Because at the end of the day, your campaign is funded by the people. It is the agenda from the people. It is the people who are telling you, we are the ones who are putting you there. How heavy is the responsibility then when you look at Mwananchi in terms of delivery as opposed to the old way of doing things? We will give you T-shirts, hats, we will pay for your transport to come to our meetings.
You see, number one, I've always asked my colleagues, I always ask them. In fact, I remember the day on the eve of going to Kisumu, we went to pay our respects to Baba in Bondo. So when we were when we were at Bondo and we were talking to the family, I asked my colleagues, do you people really understand what this is all about? Because if we don't deliver, first Gen Zs will put our foot to the fire. Yeah, if you don't deliver, the consequences will be dire. I will get a clip and show you. Because we understand it. We know. And that is why people are willing to engage with us at no cost, in fact, at their expense. Yeah. And Obama, you know, was not funded by the big boys when he first ran. Actually, it was small donations, $20, $30. That's what propelled him. And we don't want a lot of money. Yes, we just want to do our logistics. Yes, we just want to do our logistics. And we are going to encourage people to volunteer. There's some guy just called us randomly. He said, every time you guys come to these parts, or he gave us some list, yes, If you are going there, tell me. Any one of you give me your car registration, I'll fuel for you. I'll give you enough fuel to take you back. People are telling us all sorts of things. Yeah. And that is how politics should be, so that everybody owns it and feels part of it. And you are responsible for delivering their expectations.
Is anything wrong, Carolee, with having a general financier? What folks in another jurisdiction, as you refer to, would call a PAC. Is there anything wrong with that? Because we seem to be applying some kind of moral ineptitude towards having a financier for a political campaign, because then it ties questions of where did the money come from and things like this. Is there anything fundamentally wrong with doing that?
Personally, I've put a lot of money in politics at a personal level, because when you're starting a party, there's not enough resources. So there'll be anchor supporters, those who can put up the systems. Start by maybe donating something or buying something or paying for something. Or, when we will have agents, we will, some logistics. There are things people have to pay for. So there'll be individuals who can support that. Actually, the system of PACs in America is super PAC or whatever they are called. They use it to subvert election financing regulations because there are limits a candidate can spend and all that. So then they set an organization separate, and the organization money is funneled there, so they pay for other things
from there.
Yeah, or they are driving a specific agenda. Here, I think what for us, we don't want to exaggerate the expenditure. Because we will not have that money. We just want to make sure our logistics are okay, the basics are covered, and Kenyans support us for believing in that we need a better Kenya, not for bribing them. Yeah.
So something to put to bed is that, of course, there are allegations that, we saw this moving moment whereby there are people who are giving. We saw the same thing in Olkalau, where people were counting 10 shilling coins and people saying, well, here it is, take what I have so that you can push this agenda. We saw the same thing in Trans Nzoia. People are giving, Bungoma, people giving 50 shillings, 100 shillings. The allegation is that there was a few people and that somebody in the corner gave somebody some notes and said, okay, come, you guys, and so we can put it on camera. Did you see, was there a moment where people actually said, if this is change that we're going to see, take my widow's mite, as it were, and take that? Or is it orchestrated?
Think about it. We opened a pay bill. Small, that can be audited. Small denominations. We raised 5 million. Where did that come from? Where did that? People are sending money in there, and politics has a way of. There are things that you organic things that you go to a place and you find somebody has done them. Somebody will just volunteer that I'm now Linda Mwananchi man in this market, and he'll just go around telling people put 50 shillings here, or a border guy who is a popular mobilizer somewhere, or a women leader. They just do it. I mean, when we went to Nyahururu, we were shocked in the church. The chair lady of the church, people who don't speak politics, she was so emotional. She came and told us, young men, don't let us down. We are praying for you. She was very emotional. Don't let us down. We need change. And she said, hata kama ni shilingi 200 tutatoa. When we're in Nyahururu. So people will give that money. There's nothing being orchestrated there. People will, if they believe in it, they will. But I must thank the people of Olkalau, really. They were impressive. Because again there, even as Rigiji was campaigning, a lot of our colleagues were going to Olkalau. We were supporting each other, because the MPs had wards and they had different areas and things to cover. So as as Linda Mwananchi, some of our colleagues, we would give them a bit of mafuta here and there on Fridays for their moves there. And they kept assuring us, and we also kept doing our polling. And you remember, we had wanted to go there. But then we realized there was a scheme to scuttle the by-election if we had gone there. We were going to be attacked. In fact, we had information. Babu Owino's team got us very credible information as to the points where we were going to be attacked. So we decided not to give them an opportunity to do that. But the people of Olkalau, that was amazing. And President Ruto should realize the 5,000 votes that Muchina got, that candidate, he had been constituency CDF manager for, I think, 10 or 15 years. Those were his votes. Those are not UDA votes. Those are Muchina's votes. People he had helped with bursaries, people who knew him. Actually, they liked him. Those were his votes. And those votes, even in a presidential election, will not go to Ruto. You should know that. Even in Mbere, the mistake they made in Mbere is they think because they rigged Mbere and won by 400 votes, that vote will go to the presidential ticket. That vote will not go to UDA at the presidential level.
I want us to, we can extend this conversation just a little bit. We'll keep you a few minutes after 8 o'clock because then we can go into a number of things. And that one of the things that you talked about, the 17 points that younger people have said, these are non-negotiables that you must do if we're looking for change. But one of them is not to recycle people who've been in the politics for the last 3 decades, especially those who've been in the limelight but have been unable to achieve the reality of hope that Kenyans have. What are you going to do with that? Because even in the united opposition, Karoli, there are people who they've been vice presidents, they've been in the political space for 30 years. And Kenyans are saying, well, what have you done really? And why should we give you another opportunity? So it would appear as though the letdown for them would be, and this is serious, if Linda Mwananchi were to absorb people who have been in that space for a long time and have not borne accountability for leadership and governance. How will you deal with that?
You see, I think it was Clinton, President Clinton, who famously retorted to somebody that my worry with you is not your age, but the age of your ideas. I think longevity in politics itself is not a crime. How long somebody has been in politics is not a crime. Baba was in politics for a very long time. And Baba was in politics trying to push reform. And if we applied that yardstick that somebody has been in politics long enough, or we now don't need him, we would have shut out Baba. But Baba was always representing the hopes and aspirations of every generation. So longevity itself is not a problem. I don't think that is a problem. We should instead interrogate the character of the person. We should instead interrogate the commitment of the person to our reform agenda. And be realistic. If that person has a faithful support base, we don't want to lose that faithful support base. And I've always said that this election, there'll be compromises of generations. People have to compromise in this election. Yes, and that is what has been missing in this country. We've never learned as a community to compromise and coalesce. And then, even in traffic, when people when people collaborate, traffic moves very quickly.
Right.
If you use the zip system, one vehicle from one end going through. And I want to tell Kenyans, allow us as Linda Mwananchi to engage with united opposition. If people have bad character there, we have somebody with bad character or bad habit or whatever, Kenyans they know what they will do. But to say that, we are not going to work with this person because he has been a minister for so long, or he has been in politics for so long, that is not building a new Kenya. Yeah, you can't say you want to bring Kenyans together and you're excluding others. Yeah, the reality is we have to build a coalition that is committed to a reform platform and that builds the numbers to give us electoral victory in round one. People have to be pragmatic about this.
Right.
Yes, and because, Obama had a vice president who was much, much older than him and more experienced, Biden. Yeah. And Biden came back.
He did.
And became president after Obama. So age is not the issue. It is the age of the ideas that somebody has, which is the issue.
I mean, at the center of these all, Kenyans are asking For a very long time, we have been hopeful. We have trusted individuals with our votes. We have trusted manifestos and agenda that have been given to us. But every other time, there is a letdown in one way or the other. So the biggest task, perhaps, then for Linda Mwananchi and the united opposition is to convince Kenyans that things will not happen as before. So questions around accountability, right to live, because we want to live to enjoy these good roads, we want to enjoy these markets, right? But you must live first. So what are some of the non-negotiables? What are some of the promises that Linda Mwananchi and United Opposition is telling Kenyans today that even as we seek your votes, this is what we promise you we will deliver, and we will not go against this promise?
Yes. That's why I said we will not have a manifesto that is typical, where we say we will put a market, we'll do a road, we'll do this. That's not what we are going to do. What Kenyans want, number one, as I said, entrenching our national values. People want to see a public officer who does not talk like Duale. You don't abuse a community. You don't call fellow Kenyans hyenas. That is what Kenyans want. People just want leaders who respect them. So this we will implement by bringing people who are not tainted, but also disciplining those who get offline. Yeah. People just want those values. Chapter 6, integrity. Article 10, Article 232, civil service that is not tribalized. Those are the things Kenyans want. The rest they'll do. People want accountability. Accountability has very many facets. Police officers conspiring to kill. You saw the other day, this is now for the Luo Nation. Yeah, 2 people were appointed from the Luo Nation, and a lot of people talk. We were given jobs. Owino was appointed spokesperson for the police. Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or for the government?
For the government.
Yes. Then another guy from Migori was appointed the chairperson of IPOA. To the simple mind, Luos have been given jobs. But then, if you discern it, it's a scheme, because if you look at the records, majority of the people who have been abducted or who have been killed by this administration, including the boy who was killed in the vehicle of a PS, the 2 who are missing in Mathare, Albert Ojwang, they are Luos. So these people are being given these positions to actually clean the mess. But a lot of people don't see that. Those are the things we don't want. People want to see accountability. People want, if a police officer deliberately kills a person, there's accountability. If you steal, you're a public officer, and your main task is to enrich yourself in that office, you are held accountable. Those are the things they want to see. Efficiency, as I said. Kenyans just want to know the money, the taxes they pay are used properly. And you're not going to tell them, we'll build a market for you and all these things. Create systems that promote efficiency. Contracts. Like now, the affordable housing they are building. What is all this? It's a scheme.
Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's been long coming. The ODM that we started in 2005 and the ODM of the last 10 years has been very different. And I used to have these conversations with Baba. Sometimes I used to ask him, where did you get these guys from? Many around Baba were working against Baba. There were many people around Baba in ODM, very senior and very loud and very close to him, but who are agents of the state or agents of other political interests. As a matter of fact, one of them now is planning to join the cabinet. There's one who's been around there for a long time. He's negotiating to join the cabinet.
Before 2027?
Yes. They are pitching.
Okay.
What they want to do, they are saying the only way to revive ODM is to make Oparanya the deputy president. So another MP who has also been an agent of the state, who has been working very hard to even enable the cartels of government take over the sugar mills, is supposed to be made a minister, and another one from Luo Nyanza, who is also supposed to join the government. That's what they're planning.
But
ODM is dead. And the reason why ODM is dead, the leader of ODM, the de facto leader of ODM today, is William Ruto. He gives them instructions. He tells them what to do. They answer to him through Farouk. So a lot of members don't know this. Yeah, there's no ODM. There's no ODM in Western Kenya, in Coast, in Nairobi. There's no ODM. ODM is now just appearing, making little appearances in some parts of Nyanza. And soon Linda Mwananchi will be in Homa Bay. Yeah. You will see for yourself. And I want to ask the people of Homa Bay to get ready. We are coming there for 2 days. We will be in Homa Bay County for 2 days. We want to deal with this question. And I want to ask the ODM people and the Governor Wanga and an MCA there called Ogindo and Kaluma not to try and organize youths to disrupt us. Yeah, we are coming to Homa Bay.
You say that as though that would be the plan and that would be something that they would do.
They will try to do it. We are just putting them in notice. Don't try. Yes, we will come. And the people want us to go there, and we are going there for 2 days. We will do a tour of Homa Bay for 2 days.
Does that make you sad, Karoli? Because just before you go to Homa Bay and what will happen there, because being an instrumental force behind ODM silently for many years, or maybe very loud but not in the public, as yourself, as Karoli, and then seeing this from what you see as things having fallen apart, what does that do for you as an individual?
You've asked a very good question, very personal to me. Actually, I always felt very bad when I saw ODM lose its track, lose the good members that we used to have, get away from the mission we had. And you know, as Baba got older and all these bad characters got around him and I jacked ODM, it was very difficult. You know me, I told Baba that I can't be here. I left ODM.
Yes, you did.
I kept going in and out. And even 2022, I remember we had to sit down with Baba for several hours. I mean, it was very personal to me, yeah. But we lost it. But I got the inspiration from the poem, If. You know, if you can see the things you've built, yeah, destroyed and get it within you, assign you to start afresh. So we decided a long time ago, and Babu Owino tells me the same thing. He felt very bad. And Orengo. And not just those people. Sarah Elderkin, who worked with Baba for so long in England, I normally have good conversations with her. Professor Akongo Yugi. You know, there are people who have been with Baba in this ODM, yeah, from when I was in Nyandarua. I met some people there. They've been with him all along, and they're very disappointed. So many people are heartbroken because people came to ODM to make money. Yeah. So they were... That was the main activity. Baba was an enterprise to so many people. So many people. And I know, but that's why I keep telling them, let's find solace, not in the name. Let's forget about the name ODM. Let's just build something new. We carry Baba's dreams, we carry Baba's vision there, and we move. That is how we can comfort ourselves.
Because it's all about the ideology. And I want to look at appointments that we see happening left, right, center, you know. So we have the appointment of individuals from the Luo Nyanza, like you say, that is to appear as if the Luo community have received, are now in government, you know. That also comes with the experts who were there. But if you look at what is happening in government today, based off even the headline that we carried, the Kindiki story that is now hitting the headlines, and you see now transfer of what then would have been seen to be a critical part of government, where then counties and national government working together, that being the sole purpose of the deputy president, now has been transferred to the prime cabinet secretary. And that is seen as many now in the political circles are saying this is meant to woo the Western vote, you know, and looking at also Oparanya being given allegedly position of deputy president. And one asked the question, all these appointments that happen, have the people, Kenyans, come to realize that individuals who are appointed are there to serve them and to deliver, that when they fail to deliver, they are not worth to be there, that positions cannot be doled to a community to get the vote, yet there is no deliverables or delivery that comes with these positions, not only for the community, but for the country.
You see, I once said here that most of those so-called experts are in office but not in power. One of them actually called me and thanked me. He said, once you made that statement, I was allowed to do one or two things. Some got very annoyed. They thought I was abusing them. I was actually helping them. You see, I've always told my Luo brothers, don't be fooled. They tell you we brought you development. They are launching so many roads in Luoland. Oh, we've launched Calamity Road. Oh, we've launched this. Oh, this will be 1.2 billion. But if you look at the budget, there's only 100 million allocated. Meaning, ni bahati nasibu tu. Yeah? Forget about that. I gave them an example that of all the projects in Luoland under the so-called broad-based, when aggregated, is under 50 billion. Yet there's a new referral hospital being built in Eldoret for over 50 billion. The development that was taken to Olkalau alone, electricity, roads, water, was 13 billion. And the people there were not swayed. This idea that Alu has been appointed here or there, that we are now in power, is just illusion. What has this government done to Luos? They've taken all the sugar mills and privatized them to themselves. A senator has taken over Muhoroni Sugar. A senior civil servant has taken over Chemelil Sugar. These are facts. They've brought another Indian and they've given him Sony Sugar. And what have they done? They've stripped off their assets. They are now auctioning the assets of Chemelil, of Sony.
But the president has said, most recently even after you spoke with us here, that the sugar reforms have taken off in the country, and that for the first time in a very long time, sugar farmers who then, sell their cane are getting profits, and there's a boom. Suna East Member of Parliament said the same thing, who you may have referred to earlier. But how is this different from what they've said?
Junet has no idea what happens in this country. When the president was last in Kisumu, he had even suggested that the president goes to Chemelil to meet the farmers. NIS told the president, you'll be lynched if you go there. Because the farmers, the price of cane per ton has dropped.
Yes.
People are not being paid. Workers have been chased out of residences. They've not gotten their pensions. The compensation that was promised has not been given. Busia Sugar yesterday, the stores are flooded with sugar, locally produced. People are saying in Busia, they want to cut the cane and go back to growing maize. So what they are telling you and what the reality on the ground is wrong. They have tried to steal 10,000 acres of Miwani land, where we want to do free economic zone for the people of Western and Nyanza and parts of Rift Valley, the counties around there. That is, without that land, there's no purpose of taking SGR to Kisumu. To do what? To transport what? We must do a free economic zone. I've been fighting this. They've tried to steal that land. The courts have decided it is public land. They've taken GSU there. They've put somebody there growing cane by force. The laws are smarter than that. And I can tell you, if you saw the latest polling, Linda Mwananchi with one rally in Kisumu are 58% in Luoland. Once we do Homa Bay and Migori, we will be 85%. President Ruto is wasting his time and money. Even these things they are trying to do to Professor Kindiki, that they're now making Musalia's office a big center of power. The other day, Musalia's office did not even have money for fuel.
Indeed.
They did not have. So what is it now that suddenly it is so important that his duties are being transferred from Professor Kindiki to Musalia? And let me tell you, those things will not sway the people of Western Kenya.
Because you're thinking that
because
that is
they don't
so that
remember
they can
history.
have...
The people of Western Kenya, the same friend of mine, Musalia, was made deputy president by Moi in 1990. When was it? 2002? Yes.
Just before
2002.
Yes.
He lost. Awori lost as a vice president. Those things will not sway the people of West Mulembe. They don't give a damn about those things.
So you're saying that this move that we've seen these powers, as it says, removed from the office of Kithure Kindiki and placed under Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi is a ploy to move the people of the Mulembe nation?
Yes, to say, oh, your man now is like the effective prime minister. Yeah.
And so that would bring in the votes. But you're saying that we can see through this.
How does that benefit a common man in Sabatia, whether Musalia has power?
You see, Karoli...
We have a minister for finance in Suba.
How is it?
Apart from doing arambes and doing small things they call empowerment for women, I already had a 10 million merry-go-round table banking for the women. But every weekend, I told you there's 5 million. Kimani Chungwa comes there. Aaron Cheruyot comes there. Kindiki himself has been there. They do the fundraiser. They share the money with the women. The women end up with 1,947 shillings. after the hype. And they tell me, I tell them, keep eating. I've opened a granary for you. It is because of me that these things are coming. Kuleni kabisa. Yes, but they know. And when we go to Suba with Linda Mwananchi, you'll see the crowds and the statements that will be made. You'll see.
Karoli, positions that have been entrusted to the political class is donated. At the end of the day, all Mwananchi cares about is delivery. I've given you this because I wanted this from you. It's give and take. It's give and take. But then it has been looked as if once someone gets to power, you forget about the people who put you there. That contract gets lost. As Mwananchi now seemingly are open and understand way better what servitude is, what their leaders should do to them. As we get to the 2027 elections, things will be done differently because agenda is being set by Mwananchi, the demands are being set by Mwananchi. How does Linda Mwananchi then turn that, and that being the fuel that pushes you forward, knowing very well that Mwananchi funded us, Mwananchi has set the agenda, that by the time you get there, the contract is with Mwananchi and not political parties. Because for a very long time, political parties through PGM, parliamentary group meetings, are whipped to even make decisions against Mwananchi. How do we change that? How is Linda Mwananchi together with the United Opposition looking to canvass that so that it is service to the people? Because the people will tell you whether you've worked or not.
Very good question. You see, at our level, we are trying to look for good candidates. We actually have another nickname in Linda Mwananchi. They call him the Chief Coalition Builder. So you see, like Faith Odhiambo.
Yes.
I had a focus group with young people, and I asked them, we were with a friend of mine called Patrick Ochua. He's a lawyer. We had a focus group with young people, and we asked them, give us some names of women leaders you think should be in Linda Mwananchi. And her name came up. So I reached out, I talked to her, and we had several meetings, and she came. And we have other people we are looking out for. We are talking to them. Others, are waiting to see, will this thing gain traction? Guys, when they don't
have joined.
Yes. Yeah. So, to answer you, we are making a deliberate effort to get good leaders. But we are encouraging good leaders and young people to come forward. Politics is a very strange game. Conmen thrive very well around political processes because they have no shame. And that became the problem of ODM. Once something becomes popular, every joker jumps in. You just find them on the stage there. You find them doing all sorts of things, and they're active, and they crowd out the good people. But we want to deliberately look for good people to be leaders. But we can't elect them because the vote is with Raya. So we want to ask the people, please elect good people. Don't elect somebody because of money. Yeah? Don't elect. First, rule number one, I'm not insisting everybody must have education. But if you want somebody to go and audit accounts or read financial statements or to make law, surely they must be literate.
Yeah. At the very least.
Did you know in Migori County, your county, of the 6 elected MPs, only one is a graduate? Did you know that? And these are the Luos who claim that they are educated.
The one that has a degree is Nyamita.
Only, I don't really want to mention, but you mentioned only Nyamita has a degree. The other ones, if they tell you they have a degree in Ilea welding,
Oh, wow. Okay.
The entire county, and you look at it and you ask yourself, hey, what happened here? So if you bring people who do not understand what leadership is all about, then you will end up with this same problem. So give us good leaders. Political parties, yes, there's capture of parliament by the executive, but also capture of parliament by political parties. Yeah. And I've spoken about it several times. The reason why MPs are captured easily is because they don't have the intellectual stamina to interrogate issues. And that is why a lot of political parties also don't like smart people, because they'll question things.
Please repeat that again.
Yes?
Repeat that again.
Most members of parliament don't have the intellectual stamina to interrogate issues. That is the problem. That is why MPs have become sanguenas. They get bribed. I'm telling you, every week they're given 500,000 to go and run around doing empowerment. because they don't have the intellectual stamina. Yes, you must know what it is. You must question things. Yeah, and when you have somebody who is questioning things in good spirit, that is the right person to have. Yeah, that is the person who will bring the change you want. So we will do our best as Linda Mwananchi to profile good leaders, but we can't elect them. The people have to elect them for us. Yes, and we can only work with those who have come forward. So good leaders, please come forward. Don't be shy, don't be scared, just come out. Kenyans want change, and they'll see you and support you.
You talk about the capture of parliament. Is it possible that there are good leaders in the current parliament, in this 13th parliament, good leaders, but have been stifled by that same capture?
Yes.
Because some would argue that if you were good, that regardless of what the situation would be, short of being killed, that you would then be able to speak out and continue to speak out for such. Are there good leaders that are being stifled today? And then how then, how do you stop that from being? Because human beings are human beings.
Yes.
There's the fear that, and it's a resident fear amongst many, that it's no different, that somebody will get into the position of power and plus ça change, plus c'est la même chose. It'll be. How do you then make sure that that doesn't happen again?
You see, I'll be fairly straightforward here. Political parties have stifled a lot of members of parliament.
Yeah.
Yes, because they threaten you. You see, take me as an example. When I got into parliament, I was not allocated any committee by ODM. They didn't allocate me any committee, but standing orders say I must belong to one. And because I'd put somewhere there's a form you fill, there's sporting activities you like. I like jogging. I was thrown into the sports committee by the speakers panel. Then somehow strange events occurred. They reconstituted committees at some point, and I found myself in the Constitutional Implementation Committee. And members elected me chairman. And that committee was supposed to be led by UDA. And I served, and as soon as they saw the committee revived, we got good programs with IBC, we got with other constitutional officers, TSC. We are the ones who engaged the police to unlock the recruitment and all those things. They said, no, that committee now is getting profiled. It was again disbanded. They made the changes. They didn't say they sacked me.
Yeah.
They just made sure the new list did not have my name anywhere. But I'm still surviving. But a lot of MPs, that threat that they'll be removed in a committee makes them toe the line. Yes. We have very many good MPs, let me tell you, in that house. Very many. You'll be shocked. There are very quality MPs from Northeastern who are just quiet. They're just surviving. Yes. But when you talk to them, I mean, other than Yusuf of Kamkunji, a very solid man, there's Sane. There are very many good quality MPs in there. When you talk to them, you see, but they're just quiet, they're just monitoring what is going on. Because why take the risk? Let me serve my members, I go on. Yeah, even in Nyanza, there are people who should be very active. Yes? Where's Otienda Molo? He should be with us. What is he doing the other side? I ask him all the time, my friend, what are you doing there? They've made him vice chairman of the party or legal advisor. So I ask him sometimes, my friend, because your heart is not there. Millie Odhiambo's heart is not there. Yeah, we know that, but they made a deputy whip or something, so she has to hang around there.
As a political party, how do we drill or how do we ensure that members of parliament, MCAs, realize the power that they do have? Why do I bring that? Because it is the very same house. These members of parliament, you say that they are good, but they fear they have to toe the line. They are the very same people who approve budgets that go even to the office of the president. They are the people that the president depends on for his laws to go through. They are the ones who appropriate budgets, to allocate budgets to go to different sectors in the country. They are the ones who even have the power to summon the president or institute impeachment proceedings against them. The power that members of parliament have, the powers that MCAs do have at the counties is immense. As a party, how do we push that to members of parliament to realize the power that they do have and that they don't have to beg anybody because they have the power?
That's why I was telling you, first elect educated people. You see, most of them don't understand their role as members of parliament. They don't understand it. And they don't understand that in that house, first, I've said this many times, in Kenya, we don't elect political parties. In Kenya, we elect individuals. When you go to the ballot, it is your name that is on that ballot with a sign of your party, meaning you have agreed to associate with some people. But the election is personal to you. They don't understand these constitutional principles, you know. In South Africa, they elect parties. It is the ANC that is elected.
Yes.
So once ANC is elected, the parliamentary seats are shared according to the percentage of votes that the party has got. So in England, in the Commonwealth, in the UK, you've seen MPs disagree with their political parties, take a different course, and move. There's no by-election because the mandate is personal to you. There's no by-election. In the UK, today, there are MPs who are elected in Labour who are with Reform. There are no by-elections. You choose. You can choose to resign, like Nigel Farage chose to resign and go for a fresh by-election. In Australia, if you disagree with your party, they put you in some place called the crossbench. But your voice is not stifled. Here, it is made as if the political party is some church, that you cannot disagree with some decrees. You know, but the MPs don't understand it. They don't understand it. And sometimes I get very surprised when I see when ministers come to parliament, MPs rush to plead there, oh, this, can you help me with this? For heaven's sake, that's not how to relate with a minister. But the answer to that question is elect educated people, have competent people, then that problem will be solved. But if you have people who don't even understand how the constitution works, they become praise singers, sloganeers, because that's the easy thing to do in politics. You just go shouting slogans and praise singing and be part of the voting machine. Then you say every time you tell the boss, I'm loyal. I'm loyal. Then, but you are contributing nothing.
Nothing to it. A quick break, and then we come and hear what you have to say about the IEBC and its preparedness and how this is going to work with new entrants into the field. We'll be back in a short while. And I know we've kept you today, but you know what? This is what the people want to hear. And this is what essentially will make that seed perhaps that has been sown to then germinate and grow. We'll be back in a short bit with Karoli Omondi.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Now, we then enter into what we saw happening in Olkalau, and it seems to be now the blueprint that will be people within the law guarded their vote, that they were 400 meters from polling stations as is ascribed by the Elections Act, that they had to do that. But they said, we are watching every move that you make. We are watching everything that you do. But these were people who decided that they were going to live out their constitutionalism by fear and trembling on that particular day. And that what it needs is that we say that should happen, but we understand the space in which Kenya currently operates. Is there sustainability? And I know you still talk about, registering a political party, having people in place who are on one-minded agenda. How will it work to ensure that within this political space within which you operate, that can be sustained, guarding the vote, holding the IEBC to account? How will that work?
Americans said eternal vigilance is a price you pay for liberty and democracy. What they did in Olkalau shows you what Kenyans want. In other jurisdictions, if you go to Canada or even Australia, a ballot box is even placed near a bus stop on voting day. And the person in charge of it is probably a retired teacher as a volunteer. And people trust the process. Here, if you tried that, the goons that will try to stuff it up and all the nonsense that we are used to. You see, that's why I was talking about values. If we have good values, people will trust the process. They will go vote and they know their vote will count. But because we don't trust the process, the people of Olkalau showed us, you have to be vigilant. And what they did, I think, is going to be repeated everywhere because we don't trust the system. Today, even here, in the WhatsApp group of members of parliament, I'm seeing some MPs saying, oh, whatever happens, we will rig. Oh, we will steal the vote. So when you keep saying that, you are not building trust. People will have to to go out and guard their vote. But on IEBC, I think they are a bit, they are running out of time now. I've not seen the tenders for technology package, and we're already almost in August.
It's a little late, no?
It's getting late. So I think those things should come out very quickly, because that technology, you see the law, we have a mixture of manual and electronic voting. Yeah, but we need to see the technology, and the law requires that the parties sign off on it. Yes, we have to go and inspect it and be taken through it, and we sign off on it. And so the IEBC must at least float that tender as soon as possible. Secondly, I think for Parliament, there are some laws, reforms that have been pending in Parliament for so long. Hopefully in this session we will complete them, because it is, you know, I was part of the Kofi Annan process for 5 years actually. So we don't need law reform so soon, I mean so close to elections. But other than the law reform processes, you know, we also have court cases that have made certain rulings and decisions on how the election should be conducted. Though the decisions of those courts now need to be reflected in the laws. So there's a bit of work there. When I was chairing the Constitutional Implementation Committee, we had agreed with IEBC on the roadmap to elections and how those reforms, what they were, and outstanding, blah, blah. But when I brought the civil society on board, I was quickly removed. But I want to tell them, we will now form another bigger coalition of parliamentarians and civil society to ensure free and fair elections. But IEBC has to come and up its game, make sure we have no delays. Yes, otherwise there'll be a crisis.
You know, when you talk about IEBC as is, you just have to look at the by-elections that IEBC has held. So there is the by-elections from All Kalau, the Malava, we have the one in Magarini, the one Kasipul, and that then forms the basis upon which anyone can judge IEBC of their performance. And by-election after by-election, there have been issues, you know, Kenyans have died, there have been electoral malpractice. But even while at it then, you have to look at IEBC as an institution and the power that it has and other supporting agencies. So that would be the police as well, the EACC, the ODPP in prosecuting the matter. And one asks the question, if that is the yardstick within which we are judging IEBC, many are saying, hey, kidogo, it's tricky as we approach 2027. Between now and 2027, what must IEBC do to regain trust from Kenyans that it's able to deliver that election as prescribed by the Constitution?
Actually, when I first engaged IEBC as chair of Constitutional Implementation and Oversight Committee, I told them that you have come into office with very low public trust. People don't trust you. But we are willing to work with you and support you, and you build that trust. IEBC, again, I remember when they were launching the electoral plan a few weeks ago, the Chief Justice was there, and she told them, you have the power to do certain things. Yes. Exercise your power. Like the issue of violence. IEBC is not raining on people who bring violence to elections. It is pussyfooting about it. They must act. They must act and act decisively. Even disqualify candidates who engage in violence. They should be disqualified. Yeah, you remember Kasipul Kabondo, there was a lot of violence.
Yep.
In fact, candidates' vehicles were attacked, all sorts of things. People were attacked. It should not be like that. And IEBC, I think, with the by-elections that have been conducted, I think in Malava and Mbere, there was rigging, obviously. But IEBC, either they did not detect it or they were not aware. My understanding is that in Malava, there were certain polling stations where people were chased out and vote stuffing took place outside the biometric system. In Mbere, because that election normally is won or lost by hundreds of votes. That's the tradition. There was violence in a few polling stations. And that is why they won by 400 votes. Yeah. But we didn't see IEBC take any action or do an audit or say, okay, we've learned these lessons or we will do it. But now you see, in All Kalau, the people were so strong. Yeah. they actually helped IEBC more than the police to deliver a clean election. Yeah, but we want to support IEBC because it's the only IEBC we have. Yeah, so we want to support it. Yeah, but they have to up their game. They must keep timelines, and they must exercise the powers that they have to deal with electoral malpractices.
Right.
Yeah.
So this weekend, as is different from other rallies that have been held or, public engagements, there were no incidences of violence. At least there were no reports of incidences of violence. We didn't see that. Why? I mean, it's crazy that we would ask why. It's almost as though it's expected now that something like that would happen. And I want to link it to a reference that you've just made. The Kofi Annan Peace Accord that you worked on, his foundation, just a couple of weeks ago, talked about the fact that Kenya is likely to 84% to witness violence in the next election that could be akin to, if not worse, than that happened in 2007, 2008. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, actually, we've had 2 weekends of peace. We were in Taita Taveta. We had 3 big rallies in Mwatate, Undanyi, and Voi. No incidents. Very peaceful, no incidents. Trans Nzoia, very peaceful, very good. Bungoma, the same. Though, when we were in Chwele, we got intelligence that some youths had been strategically placed along the road to try and stone our convoy. But we didn't see them. We did send a team to scout, but they were not seen. So we also had a peaceful weekend in Western Kenya. And I hope when we go to Homa Bay, it will be the same.
Yeah.
Yes. So that my community is just not profiled as the only violent community. So that's why I've called out the leaders in Homa Bay. When we come, please don't plan violence. Yes, we want to come in peace, talk to our people, and live in peace. The likelihood of violence is there because the government and those who support this broad-based government are openly saying, even if they lose, they will not leave office. So what does that mean? Of course, Kenyans will resist.
Right.
Yes, Kenyans will not accept such a thing. It will not happen. So, violence is also used to suppress voter turnout. They try. Actually, when I spoke to His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua after Olkalau, he told me the turnout in Olkalau would have been much higher. Most people voted between 6 and midday. Then there was now violence. These people are going around shooting, and that suppressed the turnout. That's what he told me about that election. So it is also a tool, and even the threat of it, to discourage people from showing up. What I want to tell Kenyans, this is your country. This is your country. Come out and vote. And anybody in government who thinks they can use violence against the people, 55 million people against 100,000 policemen, you must be joking. Yeah. So people will protect the vote at the polling station, and we want the law followed. Final decision is at the polling station. Votes counted, put out on the door. We take pictures. Our agents show us pictures. We add it up. We say, according to our projections, these are the results. We finish it. And we are still not sure what IEBC will do because of legal questions. We've always had this thing of BOMAS.
BOMAS, yes.
BOMAS has legal questions around it. Yeah, because the law simply says the chairman shall announce.
Yes.
He's not the returning officer. Yeah, so we don't know where IEBC will be to make that announcement. But I think the results will have come out even before he announces. Yes.
I mean, Karoli, you raised something that is very critical, especially when it comes to the presidential vote. But let me just go back a little bit. When you see violence that is being sponsored allegedly by the state here, one asks the question, what's the fear? Because campaigns are based off how I can convince you, based off the agenda that I have, and if it's better than you, then Mwananchi has the right to vote for me. If you have better ideas than mine, convince the Mwananchi and they will vote for you. So what's the fear when you see violence that is discouraging others from taking their message to the people? Is it fear because they do not have a better agenda? Is it fear because they know they have lost the ground? And what do they aim to achieve with all that?
There are 2 sides to what you have asked. One, is people use violence in politics, yeah? Like when we started, remember everywhere we went, we were tear gassed, we were shot at, we were stoned, so that we give up. In other words, they want to stall you, yeah? They want to stop you from engaging with the people so that you can't pass your message. So it is only their message that is heard. They want to mute your voice. That's why they use violence against us. You see, whenever Orengo goes to Homa Bay, twice he has been stoned. And that is organized by the local ODM leadership there. The reason is they don't want people of Homa Bay to listen to our party leader, Orengo. Yeah. They don't want that. So that is one aspect of it. Yeah. The other one is the government knows they have lost, but there is a sense of entitlement. So if you study dictatorships and governments that have lost legitimacy, but feel that they are still entitled, they always resort to violence to perpetuate themselves. Yeah. So they know very well, okay, we've lost. If they were democratic, they'll accept their fate, say we will do the next 1 year, go to elections, lose and go home and be opposition. But they are not democratic in their minds. Yeah, they are dictators in their minds. They think those offices belong to them. Especially the half-educated people you see around President Ruto, the way they talk. The political loudmouths. Yeah, because they don't understand these things. To them, we take power by a machete. Yeah, power must be taken. You hear people saying that. It is like leaders who tell you, oh, politics is about self-interest. Politics is not about self-interest. Politics is about the greatest good for the greatest number. They don't understand it. But that is, sense of entitlement that they have. So they'll talk about violence, but it will not deter Kenyans. I mean, do you know how many people during the Mau Mau insurgency died? You'll be shocked. The white guys who died were very few. There were less than, I think, 100. But the Africans were thousands. And we still fought. We will fight. Yeah, we will fight if they bring violence. We will not be cowed. We will not hide in our homes. We will not stop going to our rallies. We will keep going. Yeah, we will keep going.
You mentioned about the presidential announcement where then the IEBC chair announces, but that the results are at the polling station. The Bomas question still remains. But even while at that, Karoli, correct us, because many are saying after the election, the counting starts with the presidential vote first, right?
Yes.
That means by the time we're getting to the member of parliament or the governor, we ought to have known who the president is. So with knowing that right now, and also the Bomas question being there, and everybody investing to ensure that they have deployed enough personnel so that they can even call the election, how is that settling with the government? How is that settling with the IEBC, knowing very well that any Kenyan can call the election based off what the law says and where the presidential results are gotten?
Yeah, you see, they were threatening people that if you announce the results, it's a crime, all that. It's not announcing the results.
Yes.
It is saying, I've collected, and these are my tallies. That is not a crime. That is, anybody can do that. After all, there's a public portal of those results.
Yes.
You can't have a public portal and you are told you can't add up the numbers in the public portal. You see, what happened in 2007, that's when I realized how, because we were together with my Miguna, James Orengo, and a friend of mine called Mbuta. We went to IBC at KICC. And we discovered what was going on there, because everything was manual. What you are saying is correct. The first count is presidential vote between 6 and 7. By 7 p.m., those results are all in each stream of a polling station.
Yes.
So the people at that time with the capacity to know that is the administration through National Intelligence Service, because they'll have a chief, they'll have an intelligence officer who within the constituency can put people in every stream and say by 7, send me the results in your stream. So they'll quickly add that thing. By midnight, they have the entire picture of the nation. And they realize, oh, the president has lost, so we need to fix this. I realized this in 2007. Because Raila was so far ahead, we had the numbers. Then suddenly things started changing. What they do, Once they have the numbers, in 2007, they started looking at the voter register. Georgia had 105,000 registered voters, but only 75,000 had voted. So once that was counted, they knew they had 30,000. They then started adding it. There was some constituency in Nyandarua, Molo. You remember even the returning officer from Molo saying, these are not the results, I'm the returning officer. So it became just aware, okay, we can add this. They take, even some MPs who had won lost that way. Because when they topped up the presidential vote, they topped to the wrong MP because they have to match.
They have to match, yes.
So, but we've cured that to a very large extent through the electoral reforms we did under Kofi Annan, with now biometrics, the KIMS kits and the rest of them. But still, today the risk we run, there are two risks we run. What is happening now? There's no transparency on the issuance of ID cards. I have actually a bill coming up tomorrow in Parliament, second reading, that people be given ID cards when they turn 18 for free in schools. But what is happening now, there is underground registration of voters by the administration.
Of whom?
Going on as we speak. Coordinated by the Office of the President. Going around. They are not, it is not open to everybody. They are targeting what they perceive as their strongholds, where they are doing the registration. And MPs are being given money to go and facilitate that registration. The risk there, they could be registering underage people, giving them IDs. Yes? So as to prop up the numbers. Yes. It is not impossible to detect because we know there's a pattern of voter growth. That if there's a sharp bump, you can clearly tell it is an outlier. But they are doing it. So that is one risk we are running. There could be a scheme to staff up the numbers. You know, the IBC data is more cleaner because it is based on biometrics. The IBC voter data. The ID voter, the ID database is not very clean. And it is being done in a skewed manner. So that is one risk. The other risk people must understand in elections is when you don't have agents at the counting hall, at the stream. Because the numbers could all be correct, but the final entry in that famous form is manual. So anybody can enter any number there. They can switch the numbers if you don't have agents or if people conspire. If this was a polling station, you have 400 votes, I have 200, but I don't have an agent here,
There's nobody to verify.
Yes, you are the only one with an agent. When they're entering, you can even still take 100 from me and say, now you got 500.
But these are serious, critical issues that you
because
bring
it is
up.
manual. So people have to be, you must have agents in that room to make sure what is in the KIMS kit is reflected on the forms when the entry is made manually. And that is a mistake I think those around Baba did last election. Baba had no agents anywhere. He had no agents, not even in Bondo, not even in Kibra. Yes. And how they allowed that to happen, I do not know. Because then the numbers the integrity can be there in the KIMS kits, but the manual entries are manipulated.
Even as you wrap this up, Karoli, are you hopeful? The people of Kenya are hopeful. That's why they keep coming out. That's why they keep saying, well, what's next? Because there's something that still resides in the heart of many who say, okay, well, maybe. Are you hopeful that, the change that you're looking at, because the hope comes from where you see things are not going right and you think, okay, there's a possibility that it can. And the process through which that happens is a lot of what we've discussed today. But are you hopeful that it will actually bear the fruit from the seed that has been sown?
For me, at a personal level, I feel very bad that as people of the black race, as Africans, we rarely have a functioning, proper country. Around the world. We have some Caribbean islands that are doing very well economically, properly managed. People must see this in a broader sense. We are Africans. Surely we must organize our affairs. We can't have countries that are all dysfunctional, that are ridden with corruption, that are not stable. It is a very fundamental question as a race. So, and we can't lose hope. We can't lose hope. You see, one of the mistakes I see President Ruto make is when he gives us a long list of brick and mortar that he's building, a market, these things, roads, all those things. That does not make a country great. South Africa, under apartheid, when the Africans were sat down on, had the best roads, had the best airports, had the best ports. That was in South Africa. Hitler, Germany, Autobahns, Hugo Boss, fashion, they were leading. Yeah, BMW, from aircraft to machines. Yeah. It had the best technology. But they killed 6 million Jews. They brought down the world peace. So that is why I'm saying they don't know what they are doing. Great nations are not built with those things. Great nations are built on values. Yeah. So I'm hopeful that Africans, because we can't lose hope, that at least Kenya, you know, when I was a young state council and I used to do a lot of negotiations with the World Bank and IMF, they used to tell me, I remember Wolfenson, then the World Bank president, told me, Karoli, there are countries in Africa that must succeed. Zimbabwe was one of them, it has collapsed. Kenya was another, we are struggling. Ghana was the other. We are still, these countries must succeed so that we pull the others. And they put a lot of effort. But then we keep messing it up with our bad politics. So we can't give up. Each generation must pull its weight. Yeah, and hopefully this election, because the people want change, the leaders will not let them down. I hope so. I hope so. And anybody who wants to be selfish and thinks, okay, if I'm not the president, I'll go and run to split the vote, I think Kenyans will give them a very rude answer. Thank you.
Karoli Omondi is the Member of Parliament for Super South constituency, has been here with us for 2 hours this morning. Thank you for joining us in this conversation and looking forward to the reality of some of the things that you say this morning coming to be.
Thank you very much. Let me leave. I have a meeting with Parliamentary Committee on sugar importation.
There we go. Asante sana, it's 9
Trying to defend the farmers. Thank you.
The latest news from around the world. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.